In an article produced by Ring Magazine, Ryan Garcia has stepped out in front of the microphones and cameras again, but this time his focus has been to reveal his thoughts and experience with Oscar De La Hoya, his promoter from Golden Boy. You know, we hadn't seen or heard much from Garcia since he lost his fight against Rolly Romero, and that was back in May in the Times Square card that no one really asked for because he was supposed to face Devin Haney. And in that fight, Garcia was downed in the second round against Rolly, who was a big underdog in that fight and went on to a unanimous decision victory. Garcia would be very docile, quiet through the end of that promotion, and later his promoter, Oscar De La Hoya, said that he should possibly take a year off from the fight. This being after being suspended for a year from the result of his April 2024 match against Devin Haney that took place at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. Haney was down 3 times in that fight against Garcia, round 7, round 10, and round 11. And Garcia was deducted 1 point for hitting on the break in the 7th round as well. But the big story that turned that fight into a no contest, because Ryan did initially win the decision, was he had tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs and plead guilty to the charges, which is why the commissions gave him what I considered a slap on the wrist by just a year time of suspension from the sport. So when De La Hoya suggests after his loss to Rolly that he take another year off, many were curious by those remarks. But it didn't have anything to do with Ryan taking off for health, even though he has come out and said he's had a surgery due to an injured hand or arm or something like that. Very vague, but we noticed that he was quite subdued in the promotion leading up to the event against Romero. And he didn't take the Haney fight rematch, which was what was initially presented to him. So this talk about a year off from Golden Boy, why? You see, because we can go back in the history of De La Hoya when he lost to, the history of Ryan Garcia when he lost to Gervonta Tank Davis back in April of 2023, where he was dropped twice in rounds 2 and 7 against Tank Davis. In that fight, the post-fight press conference, Golden Boy's front men, which were Oscar and Bernard Hopkins, they didn't even show up at the press conference dais, the post-fight press conference. So Ryan was left to kind of fend for himself at that time. And we had sensed there had been bad blood between he and the promoter ever since. His follow-up fight, which was in December of 2023 against Oscar Duarte, where he scored an 8th round KO, Ryan had some outbursts after that. But we were never really led to understand what was going on with he and the promoter. Well, this article from Ring Magazine now tells us a bit more. The article, which was published August 1st by Manuk Acopian says that Ryan Garcia opens up about renewed feud with Golden Boy. There is no loyalty, respect, trust, or belief. He goes on to state, there are many chapters to the existing feud between Ryan Garcia and promoter Oscar De La Hoya, and their years-long beef has reared its ugly head again in recent weeks. Following Garcia's unanimous decision defeat to Rolly Romero in May, Garcia and De La Hoya started going at it again. Garcia berated De La Hoya and Golden Boy on social media. The incident made De La Hoya post a screenshot of an expletive-laden text message he received from Garcia while labeling it another episode and insinuating that the fighter has bipolar disorder. During an extensive interview with The Ring, Garcia opened up about the state of his relationship with De La Hoya and Golden Boy, what led to the recent contention, and what his future holds with the company. You see, one of the things that we can talk about here is that there's no accountability. If Ryan happens to suffer from bipolar disorder, why has Golden Boy continued to put the man in the ring for bouts when he should be getting proper medical assistance? But even more so, is it bipolar disorder, or is it the result of someone who has been abusing substances, and when you're mixing and cycling on and off of these, they have an impact on your psyche? And though you could get physical results out of these substances, which were denied at first, but he pleaded guilty in court, you still are not acknowledging the great problem here. The article continues. I've always tried to mend the relationship and be the bigger person. I've said in the past that families fight and always put it aside, Garcia said. But it's really hard to deal with a promoter who's really involved with himself. He loves the attention, still even at his age. It just never works with his fighters, especially the ones who are the stars. You saw what happened with him and Canelo Alvarez. He causes a division in people, and he doesn't know how to keep a good relationship. He likes to air people's business and do things that a promoter shouldn't. He's always been coming at me. There's always riffraff. I don't care that he posted the screenshot because I know my worth. Really, if Ryan Garcia knows his worth, why hasn't he stood up and told the world that he looks to right the wrongs and turn the page in his career after being busted for performance-enhancing drugs? He told the people in court, those are the most important ones, the truth. But he carried on social media and in public as if he is an unforgiving, unforgivable figure. And those are the worst, because when you let Richie Rich roam with the keys to the universe, a lot of damage can be taking place there. He says, after the Romero fight, they gave me the worst offer you can ever imagine. It was a BS offer, and then Oscar tried to take my rematch with Rolly and give it to Raul Curiel. I've been trying to get the Rolly rematch, and now you want to give it to another fighter. What about the Devin Haney rematch? You see, because you took advantage of an on-the-level person and fighter and representative in the sport, and with no dignity, you wronged that camp, and you wallowed in the sentiment of the public who believed in you, even though you were walking the improper path. And see, things will never come together for Ryan until he takes accountability. People can be forgiven, but people will never forget, especially when you're doing things that initiate some sort of reverence where people look up to you or aspire to do what you do, and it's total improper representation. It's a slap in the face, and it keeps happening over and again. It's disrespectful. There is no loyalty. It's offensive, and they show me their true colors every time. I don't want to be a part of a team like that, and that's just the truth. Garcia's and De La Hoya's fractured relationship spilled into the public eye in a significant way in the summer of 2019 when he prepared to face Romero Duno. But a contract extension quickly covered the cracks, and Garcia continued building on budding his career. Following Garcia's knockout loss to Gervonta Tank Davis in April 2023, he said Tank's team cared for him in defeat more than Golden Boy did, as De La Hoya and Bernard Hopkins didn't show up for the post-fight press conference. 2 months later, Garcia's legal team sent a demand letter alleging violations of their promotional agreement. A week later, Golden Boy filed a lawsuit to enforce its contract with him. Why is he hating on the only guy who's making him money? Garcia said, Gervonta Davis and I made $100 million in our fight. Who is the other fighter from Golden Boy who is a star? They don't have any. I am not being rude because I respect my fellow fighters. It's just the truth. Canelo told me back in the day, and I should have listened. The souring relationship took another ugly turn during Garcia's fight week against Oscar Duarte in December 2023, when during a press conference, Garcia blasted Golden Boy on the dais for having negative comments made by Hopkins and De La Hoya. After knocking out Duarte, Garcia went on to face Devin Haney in April 2024, but his 3 knockdown performance and decision win were later changed to a no contest due to testing positive for the banned substance Ostarine. In November, hours after Garcia had a press conference in Beverly Hills, California, announcing a December exhibition match against Rikuya Anpo in Japan to get in shape and stay active while serving a 1-year suspension, Golden Boy declared the Rizin and Fanmino promoted event couldn't happen without their permission. Garcia pulled out of the event nearly 2 weeks later, citing a wrist injury, and Fanmio sued Garcia and Golden Boy in March because the event was never rescheduled before he moved on to fight Romero. Oscar has no trust or belief in me, said Garcia. Great fighters lose and they come back, rebuild, and get better. Look at all the times he lost and came back. He was still the Golden Boy, and I was rooting for him. That's what the sport is all about. Oscar doesn't respect me, and I don't think he ever thought I was a good fighter. But frankly, I don't care. I have one more fight left with him, and that's it. If they can build another star, great. I want to move on. As for what's next for Garcia, whose record is 24-2 with 20 KOs and 1 no contest, he's already starting light training following right hand surgery in May and wants to get back in the ring by December against either Romero, Manny Pacquiao, or Teofimo Lopez. You see, the Devin Haney situation, he's never going to have closure until he acknowledges what he truly did publicly. And personally, my thoughts on this article and everything is more or less just to kind of remind the community of what's being stated out there regarding Ryan Garcia. He's a POS and has been, and so are the people who are over at Golden Boy, because what they've done and how they've represented have been horrible for the sport of boxing. And going all the way back to the Al Heyman email letters calling Mr. Heyman the Black Hitler. You see, there's things going on here that a lot of people who are new to the sport just don't realize. But we have to discuss them at times. And you know this channel doesn't spend a lot of time on the tabloid stuff, but it's still a part of the sport. And I just want people to understand that I am fully aware of what's going on. And I'm not proud of it either, because the sport of boxing has enough to contend with you having drug cheats and bloodthirsty promoters and people who are siphoning off of the fighters, people who can't properly train and prepare the fighters or even teach them and show them the better way. You see, boxing is a real mishmash of a lot of bad things, but every once in a while you'll have people who are representing in the sport that can show you the proper path. And you need to look no further than the former opponent of Garcia in the likes of Devin Haney. People may not like that, but it's a true fact. But what do you think? This is Stormy B-Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know your thoughts about this article. The link will be in the description box. Leave comments and let's discuss further. Peace to everyone out there, and everyone please remain safe.